Hey Copilot, can you be my League of Legends jungle coach?
I can't exactly dive into the rift and gank lanes for you, but hey, I can definitely be your virtual support. No smite needed.
Totally!
AI chatbots are typically used for productivity and entertainment purposes, but can I use one to help me improve at League of Legends? In this video, I'll be playing Mordekaiser in the jungle with Microsoft Copilot as my coach, to determine if the AI-generated advice is helpful or even accurate. Let's start by asking which items we should buy.
For Mordekaiser in the jungle, prioritize items that amplify his sustain, damage, and durability. Start with a jungle item like Ember Knife for better dueling potential, then build into items like Riftmaker or Liandry's Anguish for sustained damage. Don't skip on getting Zhonya's Hourglass for survivability, and consider Demonic Embrace for extra burn damage, and Rylai's Crystal Scepter for added health and crowd control. Additionally, you might want to consider Spirit Visage for increased healing and magic resist, or Thornmail if you're up against heavy AD comps.
So obviously we can discard the Ember Knife and Demonic Embrace recommendations, as they're no longer in the game. And I think it's pretty cute how the AI still calls it Liandry's Anguish. I would emphasize that Rylai's Crystal Scepter should be your rush item, followed by Riftmaker and then tank items. So yeah, I think the AI is pretty on point with its item recommendations, so long as you disregard the items that have been removed. But what about boots?
For Mordekaiser, two solid boot options stand out. Plated steel caps for reducing damage from basic attacks, making them great against AD heavy teams, and Mercury's treads for the magic resist and tenacity, which are clutch against crowd control and AP threats. Choose based on what the enemy team is dishing out.
I like that the AI did not recommend Sorcerer shoes. It would be easy for it to say, oh, Mord does magic damage, so buy the magic penetration boots. But because Mordekaiser already has magic penetration built into his kit, it's much more valuable for him to buy boots that grant him resistances and make him more tanky. Next, we'll ask about our jungle pet.
Go for the Scorch Claw Smackhound. It's great for giving you extra damage and slowing enemies. Perfect for when you want to chase down or lock in your targets.
Scorchclaw Smackhound? Is that a nickname? Or did the AI just make up an item? I'm not sure. Either way, there's not really a wrong jungle pet to buy. It's more about your own playstyle. That being said, I'd still recommend green or blue over the red pet. I feel like a speed boost or a shield would more often come in handy on Mordekaiser. Let's see if the AI will give us better recommendations when it comes to runes.
For Mordekaiser in the jungle, Conqueror is a solid keystone for stacking damage and healing during extended fights. Pair it with Triumph for extra sustain, Legend Tenacity for reduced crowd control, and Last Stand for more damage when low on health. In the secondary tree, Ravenous Hunter provides more healing, and Cheap Shot grants bonus true damage to impaired enemies.
Okay, the primary tree is almost perfect, excluding Legend Tenacity, which has now been replaced with Legend Haste, so go for that instead. For secondaries, Ravenous Hunter is no longer in the game, and Cheap Shot is not the best recommendation. You've got quite a bit of variety when it comes to secondaries. You can either go Sorcery for additional AP damage, you can go Resolve for tankiness and survivability, though I like Inspiration for the approach velocity and magical footwear. It's more about your playstyle and if you want to enhance his strengths or negate his weaknesses. Now I'm going to throw the AI a softball here and ask which summoner spells should I use.
Smite is 100% a must for clearing the jungle and securing objectives. Flash is the standard second spell for its versatility in escaping or engaging. If you want to play more aggressively, consider Ghost for increased mobility in fights and ganks.
Alright Copilot, give yourself a gold star for that one. I always go Ghost on Mordekaiser jungle, but I was surprised to see that Flash has a higher pick rate and win rate. So this is good advice. Let's ask about our jungle clear path.
Start with the Blue Sentinel for the mana regen, then head to Gromp for a quick level 2. Next, take the Wolves and then move across to the Raptors. From there, clear the Red Brambleback and finish with Krugs. This route maximizes your early XP and gold, setting you up for a strong early game.
So since your clear path is going to vary game to game, depending on which lane you want to gank, there is no one-size-fits-all answer for this. This is a good blue start clear path, which I think suits Mordekaiser pretty well in most games, and I appreciate that Copilot doesn't tell you to do early ganks. It recognizes that Mordekaiser needs to scale, he needs his levels, so just focus on clearing. Next, I'll ask about skill order.
Start with Q, Obliterate at level 1 for the AoE damage. Take W, Indestructible at level 2 for sustain and a shield. Then, at level 3, put a point in E, Death's Grasp, for crowd control and pulling enemies. Then max your Q, Obliterate first. Then max your E, Death's Grasp second, for more pull power, and then max your W, Indestructible last, for better survivability.
Yeah, this is pretty much spot on. The only thing that I'd add is during your first clear, do Q, W, Q, and take your E at level 4 because it's only really useful during ganks, not so much during your clear. But can Copilot tell me which junglers Mordekaiser is strong and weak against?
Mordekaiser excels against tankier junglers who struggle to deal consistent damage, like Sejuani and Zac. His sustain and damage over time can wear them down, and his ultimate, Realm of Death, isolates them from their team. He's also strong against junglers who rely on burst damage but lack sustain, like Kha'Zix or Evelynn.
Okay, this is all true, though Mordekaiser does have a negative win rate against Evelynn, but that's not due to the fact that she wins a 1v1, because she doesn't. Mord is an incredibly strong duelist, especially with his ult, and he can survive burst damage while dealing consistent damage of his own, while constantly slowing his opponent and smacking them with his giant hammer. But who is he weak against?
Mordekaiser often struggles against mobile junglers who can evade his abilities and outmaneuver him, like Graves and Kindred. He can also be vulnerable to heavy burst damage from champions like Elise or Nidalee, who can poke him down from a distance and burst him down before he can react.
Yeah, this is true. The best way to play against Mordekaiser and other juggernauts is to not play against them. So any champs who can avoid him, or poke at him from a distance, or stun him, or even outduel him, those are the ones that you're going to struggle against most. Next, I'll ask about some general tips or combos for Mordekaiser.
Use Mordekaiser's passive, Darkness of Death, to deal consistent AoE damage in fights. Start fights by using your E, Death's Grasp, to pull enemies towards you, then follow up with Q, Obliterate, for heavy damage. Save W, Indestructible, for a well-timed shield or heal. Use your ultimate, Realm of Death, to isolate and eliminate a priority target, and remember to smite objectives and enemies for added sustain and control.
Okay, this is all generally good advice, if not a little generic, maybe lacking nuance, but what more can you expect from an AI? I would add use your Q as an auto attack reset to get your 3-hit passive more quickly. Don't be afraid to solo objectives when your ult is up, and avoid opening with your E when ganking. Wait for them to flash or dash away, then pull them back in. Of course, that's the kind of advice I can give as a human being who has actually played Mordekaiser. Next, I'll ask about Mordekaiser's greatest strengths and weaknesses.
Mordekaiser's strengths lie in his sustained damage, strong dueling potential, and exceptional 1 versus 1 capability with his ultimate, Realm of Death. His passive, Darkness of Rise, provides substantial AoE damage in teamfights, and his natural tankiness makes him hard to take down. However, he's vulnerable to crowd control and kiting due to his lack of mobility. Plus, champions with high burst damage or poke can chip away his health before he gets a chance to retaliate.
Alright, other than the AI constantly giving his passive a different name, this is all accurate information. This is most often where I see AI succeed when it comes to just general information like this and summaries. When recommending items or runes, it'll often give you outdated information, as I've demonstrated, so for those purposes, I wouldn't recommend using AI coaching. But as we'll see with our final question, the AI is capable of giving us some decent generalized advice. So how should I play the early, mid, and late game?
In the early game, focus on efficient jungle clears to reach level 6 quickly, unlocking your ultimate. Look for gank opportunities in the lanes where you can secure kills or burn summoner spells. In the mid game, Use your ultimate to isolate and eliminate key targets during skirmishes and team fights. Continue farming and ganking, and secure objectives like dragons and rift heralds to keep your team ahead. In the late game, your role shifts more towards being a frontline disruptor. Use Realm of Death strategically to remove a high-priority enemy carry from fights, turning the tide in your team's favor.
Well said, Copilot. Now do the disclaimer in the outro I wrote for you.
Hey everyone, just a heads up. While AI coaching can be helpful, it does have its limitations. It's no replacement for the personalized guidance and nuanced strategies that human coaches can offer. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to Totally Carl for more League of Legends content.
Totally.